A desert planet with twin suns.
Why do I sense we've picked up another pathetic life form?
Use my knowledge. Much to learn. You still have.
Welcome back to Twin Sun Talks, folks. I'm your host, Jonah Liu. Thank you so much for listening, and welcome to this month's edition of The Ability to Speak Does Not Make You Intelligent.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
On this month, we have, once again, my brother, Jeb. Jeb, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Good to be back on.
Glad to have you back. And then for the first time ever, we have Mr. Zach Purczinsky, one of my old co-workers from over the summer. Zach, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing just great. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Okay, so before we get started, Zach, since this is your first time on, I'm going to need a little bit of a profile from you because that's what I always do whenever I have new guests on. So, Zach, I'm going to need your favorite character, favorite movie, favorite show, and then if you could have a lightsaber, what color would it be? All in the context of Star Wars, of course.
Okay. Favorite character? It's hard for me to pick. So I'm going to be between two. And It's probably between Chewbacca.
Awesome.
And Yoda. I think Yoda was always my favorite growing up.
Strong choices.
Which is great in all ways.
Yeah.
Favorite movie is probably The Return of the Jedi.
Excellent choice.
Favorite show? I'm very optimistic for some of the new stuff, but probably currently favorite show would be... Man, I really should have picked this.
It's all good. I like the genuine
favorite
reaction.
show, probably, I really enjoyed the last two seasons of Rebels. First two seasons, not so much, but the last two seasons I really enjoyed. So
yeah,
we'll say that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Lightsaber Color, is that right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Correct.
Definitely the white that Ahsoka has. They're so
lightsabers
cool.
Are dope.
They're so cool. And like the new sounds that they put to the lightsabers are so unique for the white lightsaber.
Cool.
It's so cool.
I do like, they kind of give each lightsaber a different like personality almost.
Yeah.
So, no, I completely agree. They're super, super cool. Well, dude, that's awesome. That's one of the more unique profiles that we've had.
Very
I think
unique,
we have a lot of sheeple who just like to say the same things as me. I think they think that that's going to get them on my good side, but
no way. It gotta be unique.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
but
no one can have the same opinions as you.
No,
That's
never.
So
They're just trying. They're just trying to kiss. They're just trying to kiss up if that's what they have. But anyways, awesome. Thank you so much for that, Zach. And without further ado, let's just dive into a little bit of visions.
To continue, we need one singular vision. My vision.
Alrighty. So today, what we're going to be talking about is essentially our feelings about all the new Star Wars projects that we have to look forward to this year. Last year was a bit of a dry spell for Star Wars. We really only had the Bad Batch because Book of Boba Fett started in 2021, but most of it has been in 2022. We're not really going to be talking about Book of Boba Fett much because we're actually recording this just after the second episode came out, and this is going to be releasing quite a bit later, so I don't want to have any like muddled confusion about the show because we really haven't seen too much about it. But I mean, we can have first impressions. What do y'all think of the show so far after 2 episodes?
I really like it. I mean, I know a lot of people are giving it a hard time, but I really like the exposition almost. Like, I don't think that they should stick with it for too much longer, just because I think they need to, like as you said in your review, get to the present, get to the main storyline. But it's just really interesting to me how they've really developed the Tusken Raiders into. I think that I'm just going to say things like from your review, like from
no worries.
Animals into like humans, into actual people.
I think that's really cool too.
And like we were just talking to our dad, like now instead of wanting like a lightsaber, whenever we want like a gaffy stick. Like, I don't know. I just really like it. It's really cool.
I'm definitely excited.
What about you?
I think it's got a lot. I think it's got a lot of potential. I think they've started strong. I mean, of course, there's going to be negative feedback about any Star Wars thing ever because people are like that. But I'm always a big optimist about Star Wars stuff. I enjoy it all. You know, I love the world. I love the whole lore of everything, and so I'm pretty easygoing with whatever Star Wars puts out. I'm gonna really like.
I respect that, man.
I think agreeing with Jeb, like I really love the kind of dive that they've done in some, you know, unknown races, you know, and unknown like cultures and stuff that are in Star Wars that we don't know a ton about, and so that's been really neat. But I'm definitely excited for them to kind of leave the backstory and get to the plot. So it's okay, you know. It's only the second episode, so
yeah,
I'm still ready to go.
No, totally. Yeah, no, same here, and I'm very excited. I think that they're setting a really good tone. I think that I like the more personal storytelling devices that they're implementing, whereas The Mandalorian felt very much like it's like a big wide world, where this one feels like, well, obviously we're not traveling to as many planets as we did in The Mandalorian, but this feels much more contained and much more personal to Boba, right. and I really enjoy that. So yeah, but moving on, we have 4 shows that or 3 that we know for sure. One that we're fairly certain is going to be coming out this year in 2022. And those are Kenobi, Andor, Bad Batch Season 2, and then Mando Season 3. Mando Season 3 is the only one that could spill over into 2023, depending on how production goes. But I guess, what do y'all think? I have a couple questions like about it generally, but
yeah,
what are y'all most excited for? What are y'all hoping to see from it? Just general thoughts. Anyone can feel free.
I'm so excited to see Ewan McGregor back in action. That's so exciting. I think when that first got announced, like that alone was just the best news.
Oh yeah,
so
definitely.
I think go for it.
I think there's a lot of potential, and I think it's a storyline that we speculate or very familiar, like fairly familiar with probably what happens between there, but also a place that has a lot of potential to explore and, you know, elaborate and talk about those early years before, you know, Luke was in the scene. So I think it's gonna be really something special.
Most definitely. Yeah. And I think that, no, you're good. I think that show's going to be very indicative of what the state of Star Wars is going to be moving forward. Because I think that Book of Boba Fett has had a good amount of hype around it, but I think that what people are really, really, really excited for is that Kenobi show. And I think that if that doesn't do well, that'll be a sort of nail in the coffin, as it were, for Star Wars for at least the foreseeable future, because there's so much hype around that and has been so much hype around that for a while. But I really think that it's going to deliver, because yeah, like you said, Ewan McGregor's coming back, Hayden Christensen's coming back. I think that they're going to give a lot of redemption for Hayden and a lot of justice to Ewan that we haven't necessarily seen paid off since the prequel trilogy. And I'm super excited. So Jeb, sorry, I cut you off there.
Going back to what Zach said, is like we know a lot about this era in Legends, but there's almost no canon. Am I right? About like between when Obi-Wan exiles himself and episode 4. So
for Kenobi, we have like nothing other than a little bit in Rebels,
except for like the half of an episode or whatever. Yeah. How long is it in Rebels?
Well, no, yeah, it's barely anything, but yeah.
But there's just so much that they can do.
Yeah.
That, I mean, I just think it'll be so cool.
I agree. I'm very excited. And I think that it's not even close that that's the one that I'm most excited about out of the 4 that we have to look forward to in the near future. But because Bad Batch, as much as I liked it, it was a little bit flat by the end. I think that it has a lot of compelling storylines, but it had a lot of, and I dance around calling things filler, because I feel like at the end of the day, a lot of things serve the greater plot in some way or another with character development or anything like that. But it was filler. I mean, I don't like to call it that, but a lot of it was very it just felt like noise. It didn't feel necessary, and it felt like they were kind of running on a treadmill and staying in the same spot the entire time. So I'm hoping that we get a lot more about the rise of the Empire. I hope we get a lot more Crosshair content, and I hope that we get a lot more about the clones like Hauser that are rebelling against Order 66 like after the fact. And so I know, Zach, you and I watched an episode on a church retreat over the summer. That was a pretty cool moment. What are your thoughts on Bad Batch moving forward?
I'm excited. I think they still have a lot of character development things that can, like, not that they lacked it, but I think there's just a lot more room to grow, and there's a lot more story to explore. Definitely, like, excited for Crosshair, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Confused, yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
I always like want to say that it's like a different sniper term. It's his name.
Yeah, no, you got it. You got it.
But yeah, I'm excited to like see. I think he has a potential to have a neat arc. But yeah, I think what you said is right on. I think there's a lot of great potential of talking about more of the Empire and First Order, kind of early things of that, and or the First Orders later. So, but yeah, I'm excited.
Most definitely. Jebby, I watched pretty much everything else with you. So
yeah. So going back to what you're talking about with Hauser, is I thought that it was so interesting that, like, whenever Hauser was like saying how like, oh, all of this is wrong to all of the rest of the clones, like a good number of them actually like threw down their shields, threw down their weapons.
Yeah.
And so that makes me think like there has to be like so many more.
Yeah.
That think the exact same thing. I
mean, even at the end, whenever they had done the bombardment of Kamino, and is it Admiral Rampart? That's what his name is, right?
I think so.
Whoever the admiral in charge of War Mantle and all that is, he asked a clone for like status on the destruction of Kamino, and you can hear like kind of sadness almost in the clone when he's reported like it's been completely destroyed.
Woof.
And so you kind of get to see like maybe the effects are like wearing off, maybe it's just like after a certain amount of time after the order's been given, it's kind of less potent. I don't really know, because we see in the Clone Wars that they have so much personality, so much individuality, and we see that completely taken away in Bad Batch.
So sad.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I really hope that they explore that more, though, because I feel like that was probably the most interesting thing that they went over in the entire season. And we really didn't touch on it all that much. So I'm really
think it's a good way to explain of like why they end up not using clone troopers later on. You know,
exactly.
Like maybe the inhibitor chips do like degrade, you know, and they become less reliable.
Yeah, and I think that's I'm really hoping that we see. Obviously, we're not going to see the clone uprising on Kamino like there is in Legends, but I'm really hoping that we see some sort of clone uprising as like the reasoning for why they phased out clones pretty much like a couple years into the reign of the Empire, because like there are 19 years between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and by the time of A New Hope there are basically no clones left. So I think that it's really wrought with potential for like something really cool and really sad, and I hope they capitalize on that. But the other two, we really don't have too much to go off of for what they're going to be about. I think Andor is probably the one that we know the least about. And honestly, that's probably we'll save Mando season 3 for last because that's one that might get flipped anyways. But Andor is going to be about Cassian Andor, who's one of the main characters in the movie Rogue One, and it's also going to star K2SO, the repurposed Imperial security droid. But it's unclear what the show's actually going to be about. And it's, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure how it's going to play out. I think it's kind of early days of the rebellion. I just don't know what to expect. They haven't really given us too much to go off of, but it's I don't know. I think that it could be interesting because Rogue One's one of my favorites, but I think that I'm really drawn to a more it's almost like the spectacle of Star Wars. You know what I mean? It's like lightsabers, Jedi, big fights, and that might be a little bit I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a little more personal, which could be cool, but that's just not something that's super appealing to me, just empirically. So, Jeb, what do you think?
Well, I just know so little about this because I feel like...
Exactly, yeah.
Like...
No, exactly. If you don't have anything to say, I mean, I don't have anything to say, so it's...
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it. Really.
Okay, that's fair. Zach, what do you think?
I mean, I'll try to think about... I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, Zach.
No, it's okay. I'm probably going to say a little bit of the same thing, I think. There's not much to go off of, but I mean, Rogue One was really cool, and I think I remember when I heard Rogue One about it and hearing like the reviews that the presence of no Jedi is interesting. I think that's probably what we're gonna see a little bit here, probably with the story too. Just probably not a story about Jedi, but more about just the people around them, around this situation. So I think that could be cool, like Rogue One was, but we don't really know anything. I like the actor though. I think he's gonna do a good job.
Yeah,
I agree,
but who knows?
I do not. Yeah, I don't have too much to say. I know that my buddy Scott is really excited about it. So maybe I'll whenever we get a little more information on it, I'll try to have him back on and we can talk about that a little bit more.
That was Scott's favorite movie, right?
Rogue One's his favorite. Yeah. But that being said, Mando season 3 is really the last one that we have, and since Baby Yoda Grogu's gone, the main crux of like the first 2 seasons is
what's the show?
Is he gone though? Is he?
I mean, he's not gone, but he's taken out of the equation at least for like the beginning, I would assume, unless they're going back and forth between like
I was about to say unless
Luke
they split storylines. Yeah,
which I kind of
would be cool, but at the same time, kind of not.
It'd be cool, but I'd prefer them to just make that its own show if they were going to do that.
Because that's not really too much, I think. The Mandalorian.
Yeah, bring in Sebastian's. Yeah, and no, exactly. But bring in Sebastian Stan as young Luke Skywalker, and run with it. I think that would be great.
Well, with this, I don't think that they really can because they've already done the what was it that they used to do his.
They're not going to do that for an entire series. That was
no, but I don't think that they should make an entire series because I don't think that that's. I feel like that could just be like another. Like an episode or like half an episode in The Mandalorian.
Luke starting his Jedi Academy after Return of the Jedi wouldn't be an interesting
I thought that you were talking about him like training Grogu or whatever.
Oh no, I mean that would be part of it, but that wouldn't be the entire thing.
Yeah, never mind. Sebastian Stan would be good.
I forget which movie it was. It's probably the Last Jedi. LOL. But there's that scene in the stable where that kid pulls the broom towards himself.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was so dumb.
But it was like such a small thing. I feel like they haven't really explored a lot of like rebuilding
the Jedi,
any Jedi Order. I think that could be
cool. Yeah. I mean, the thing with that is that that's way after the Mandalorian. At that point, that's like 25 years
that's
after.
Like
yeah. So I could see that being like a show focused on Rey, which I don't want. Right. But I mean, I would be very skeptical about it, but I think that they could do it well if they ended up deciding to do something like that. But for those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, Jeb had to step out, and for those of you who are watching on YouTube, that's why Jeb doesn't have a video feed. Anyways, I forget what I was talking about. Yeah, Rey. I mean, I'm not going to talk about that too much because I think that I've made my feelings on the sequels very clear on this podcast. No. I was actually just thinking about this the other day, and this is a bit of a tangent, but I'll filibuster while Jeb's off camera. But episode 7 of this of Star Wars, the first episode of the sequels, is really what reinvigorated my love for Star Wars because I went on a pretty solid it wasn't I feel like it was more like self-rebellion where I was trying to kind of recreate myself almost, where I was like, oh, I don't want to go to A&M anymore. I don't want to go to, or I don't want to do these things. And I don't like Star Wars anymore because that was what younger me liked. And then episode 7 came out and I was like, oh, no, this is pretty cool.
It's cool to like Star Wars.
Yeah, it's cool to like Star Wars. This is like a 2-year stretch of my life in middle school where I was like, this isn't cool anymore. And then I was like, oh man, this is pretty cool. and so I have to give credit to the sequels that in that regard that they did kind of rope me back into Star Wars a little bit, and I think that might have happened either way, but at least to a certain extent, the sequels kind of reignited my Star Wars fandom personally. But as far as The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker go, they are awful, and I have talked about
Disgraces.
that at length in other episodes. But anyways, if you like them, more power to you.
Almost all of
yes. Okay, we're done talking about this now. But as far as Mando season 3 goes, probably if I had to guess, it's going to be centered around Din Djarin's conflict with Bo-Katan, and essentially them like going back to Mandalore and like maybe like reinstituting like traditional Mandalorian rule of the planet or something like that. I don't know, but Jeb, what do you think?
I mean, that's what I was going to say about it. Like, so for people who don't remember, like, Din Djarin is the rightful owner of the Darksaber right now. And what I don't understand is, wait, can you say something again? Because I can't.
Sorry, I muted myself.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What was I saying? Well, but like Sabine, like just gave the Darksaber to Bo-Katan.
Yeah. So
why can't Din Djarin just give the Darksaber to Bo-Katan?
If I had to guess, and this is a theory that I have, and I haven't had this podcast since since the Mando season 2 came out, but if I had to guess, there was probably an issue with the fact that Sabine just gave it to Bo-Katan. And that kind of like is how Moff Gideon kind of swooped in, was like, hey, she's not really like legit in her like rule of Mandalore. Mm-hmm. And that might have caused some sort of discrepancy within the tribes or the clans. And within that conflict, Gideon was able to kind of step in and take control himself. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if I had to guess, that's probably what happened, because there's a pretty big gap between Rebels and the Mandalorian, and in that gap there was some sort of purge of Mandalorians that is referenced in the first season that we don't really know anything about.
That I would like to learn more about.
And I'm guessing that this next season's probably going to go through that. But yeah. Zach, do you have any thoughts
about like further about Mando 2 or Mando 3?
Yeah.
Nothing big. Excited to see where it goes. I'm excited about all these, but yeah, I think it left at a cool place.
Yeah,
but not really sure where they're gonna go now that the thing that was carrying it for the first 2 seasons, aka Grogu, was kind of
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah,
I guess they have this whole side of the Darksaber and ruling Mandalore. I guess that they'll explore.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of like almost like the phases of the MCU. It's like that was phase 1 of the Mandalorian. Now we're moving into phase 2 of the Mandalorian. Yeah, probably so. I don't see this going past maybe a season 4 though. I'm guessing that
probably not. No,
it probably only needs to go that far, but we'll see.
Fair.
I don't know, but okay, this is one question that I have. Do y'all think that Disney is kind of oversaturating the market between Marvel, all the Marvel shows and all the Star Wars shows? What are y'all's thoughts on that? Do you think we're getting too much content? Do you think it's kind of diluting the specialness of what we used to get, or what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Well,
I don't care. I say give me as much content as you want, and I'll absorb it. I definitely get the argument of like, I remember waiting, years for movies to come out or shows to come out, you know, and the excitement of it all. But I'm just as excited for all of these things, and it's even more exciting to know that they're going to come boom, 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 one after another. And if one is taking a month break, Marvel's running something, and if Marvel's taking a month break, then Star Wars is running something. So
100%.
I get the feeling of like, I don't know, is this not a good thing? But I love it. It gives me something to
do. Exactly.
I feel like Disney is just trying to accommodate like the new like the new norm. Like that's what people do now.
Yeah.
They just sit down and want to watch things, even if they're shorter. They just want to watch. They binge things more.
Exactly.
Using streaming services more. We are not going to movie theaters as much.
Yeah.
It's just they're trying to change with the change.
No, that's fair. And I think that y'all both make great points. And I would agree, especially, I would agree with you, Zach, that I don't care. I like it all. So, like, give it to me. But also,
Go ahead.
I just feel like the Marvel model and the Star Wars model are slightly different because as far as Marvel goes, I do feel like Marvel is starting to get a little bit stale, just the tiniest bit.
Yeah,
I think that they need to branch out a little bit more and try some new things because I think they found something that worked and that people liked and it was very safe and it worked for them for a long time. And now they've been doing it for several years and it's starting to get old. But and it's still good, but it's not as great as it could be, in my opinion. But the issue with Marvel, I think, is that they're bringing in all of these new characters that don't really have too much established history in the MCU, and the purpose that they're bringing them in these shows is to establish history for them. But I think that makes it a little less compelling for some people. Whereas with Star Wars, the really exciting thing is it has so much of this existing lore that's just waiting to be used. And
exactly.
You have so much to draw from, especially with like characters like Boba Fett, characters like Obi-Wan. The lore is there. The backgrounds already exist. You just need to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
So
kind of with Marvel as well, with all of the comics.
Yeah, I feel like Marvel's a little different because there's so many different storylines, so many different runs of different characters that you can take a lot of different interpretations for different things. Whereas with Star Wars, there's pretty much one linear storyline, and there are different branches in the EU and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's one linear storyline. And even if it's not all canon, you still have a lot of source material that you can draw from that people already know about. And maybe casual fans don't know quite as much about it, but it's still there. And so I feel like that gives Star Wars many more opportunities to make really good content that's really cohesive and really meaningful. And that's why I'm really excited about the Star Wars stuff. I'm a little hesitant about the Marvel stuff just because I feel like they're verging on negative oversaturation. I don't feel like it's negative yet, but I feel like they're dancing along the edge, and it kind of makes me a little worried. But I trust Kevin Feige, and I think that he knows what he's doing. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. I think I interrupted.
Feige we trust, and Filoni we trust.
Exactly.
I was gonna
in Favreau we trust.
I was gonna say that it's both franchises are kind of at a unique stage where they're kind of like big babies. So for Star Wars, the whole Skywalker storyline, and for Marvel, just all the Avengers storyline. It's kind of they're both kind of wrapping those up. I mean, Star Wars has wrapped theirs up more than Marvel has, but and so they're both in this unique phase of not only trying to create something new, but also like cater to a newer and younger coming up audience that may not be as familiar with the storylines as people that grew up with it, Yeah. And so it's a very unique phase, but I think Star Wars has the advantage in the fact that the universe is just much bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Marvel is
definitely
diving into the multiverse, which I think is a really smart move for them because it makes the universe a lot bigger. But Star Wars, it's a lot easier to create because, sure, there could be a totally new planet we've never heard about.
Exactly.
Sure,
exactly.
It's easy to latch onto and believe in.
Yeah.
But once you get outside New York for Marvel, it's a little, it's a little.
No. 100%. You're not wrong at all. Yeah.
So there's both in very unique growing pains phases.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I would agree with that, and I feel like Marvel has been much more consistent in their quality than Star Wars has, which is unfortunate.
I would say that definitely.
Marvel has been on a pretty consistent incline. Star Wars has been like a bit of an oscillating graph, if you will. But yeah, do y'all have any other thoughts on the shows, or should we play some games?
I like games.
I'm down for games.
Games are good. Okay, then let's dive into This Is Where the Fun Begins.
This is where the fun begins.
Alrighty, so I'm going to let y'all choose. Would y'all rather do some super hard Star Wars trivia or Star Wars versus everything else? Super hard Star Wars trivia is basically some questions that I pull from this like really difficult Star Wars trivia book that I have. I don't have it near me, so I can't say the title off the top of my head, but I've used it in a lot of other episodes, and I've mentioned it there. Or would y'all rather do Star Wars versus everything else, which is where we pit Star Wars characters versus characters from other franchises?
Jeb has to choose.
Let's do trivia first, because I think that people will, and I think that the other one will be more fun. So
okay, that's fair.
Save the better one for last.
Well, this might be the only thing that we do though. So.
Oh. Well, then let's do the Star Wars versus everything.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so let's do Star Wars versus everything else. Let's start with Crosshair versus Hawkeye and or Legolas. But this is Crosshair going up against either of them.
Either two.
So I essentially ranking who you think is the best out of those three, I guess. But it's mainly how Crosshair would fare against either of the other two, because it's a Star Wars versus everything else.
Crosshair has a gun, and both of them have bows.
I mean, yeah, but it's more
Hawkeye
like
has special arrows though.
Exactly, trick arrows.
Special arrows.
But it's like it's less of like who would win in a fight, and more of who is more accurate, more skilled in battle, more of a helpful asset to a given team.
I'm gonna pick the dark horse.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Legolas. Yeah.
Legolas?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would say that.
I mean, you think of his rap history,
say Legolas.
his long life, his elvish eyes.
Yeah, like 500 years old.
His strategy, and also he just, took down a Mumikil. It's pretty cool.
It's true. It's true. No, I would say that Legolas is probably
And he can jump on falling rocks.
Also true. It's true. He doesn't need any sort of conventional Newtonian mechanics to help him in his fight against any orcs. He creates physics. He is physics.
He is physics.
And orcs are a lot harder to take down than droids or aliens.
Chitauri.
Maybe.
Tracksuits.
It's true.
Definitely
tracksuit.
Or tracksuits, yeah.
Tracksuit mafia. Bro.
Legolas will destroy the tracksuits for sure.
Okay, so we're pretty much all in agreement that Legolas wins out of those three. How about Hawkeye versus Crosshair then? They're a little bit more comparable then. Legolas was kind of an unfair.
I think that Crosshair. Sorry,
you're good.
I think that Crosshair, since he's like literally genetically modified to have enhanced traits,
they're pretty similar, honestly. Because Hawkeye seems to be like, it's almost like kind of a natural thing for him too, where he obviously has had to train and hone his abilities, but at the same time, you see him like use like the little like, what is it, a bottle cap that he's able to like use to turn on a TV from the couch, and he just does like the the little snapping thing. And so like, I mean, I don't know, as far as like skill, I think it's really, really close between the two, and we honestly haven't seen enough of Crosshair's abilities, which is a crime.
Exactly.
But I feel like the little reflector things that he uses are pretty similar to like Hawkeye's trick arrows almost.
Yep.
So I don't know. Hawkeye has more versatility with his arrows than we've seen with Crosshair.
Yeah.
But Crosshair's also like really good. So I don't know.
I think
what do y'all
also
think?
like we've seen more of like Hawkeye's agileness. Crosshair we really just see sitting in a sniper's nest most of the time. We don't really see him.
That's fair.
I don't think we saw a lot of hand-to-hand from Crosshair. Probably did see a little bit, but
not really.
Hawkeye,
for the most part,
Hawkeye's good up close or far away. He's got it. I would say Hawkeye.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah. I'm honest. I'm so very torn. I guess I'm the tiebreaker because y'all are split. I don't know if we're going like head-to-head matchup. I don't know. I really don't know.
I think another proof for Hawkeye is like when you see him create all those arrows, like he's a smart guy too. Like he knows what he's doing, and he's able to create and be creative.
Crosshair can get like burnt half of his face off and still survive.
Yeah, but he had a healing tube or healing pod, whatever you call those things.
Back to tank. Yeah.
The back to tanks. Yeah.
Well, Hawkeye has like the band-aids.
It's true. He does. Hawkeye has steri strips. That is
Steri strips.
that is
That's what I
a
was
great
looking
point,
for.
Jeff. Bacta versus steri strips.
Whoa.
That's our next Star Wars versus everything else. But honestly, just given the lack of Crosshair content that we've got, generally speaking, I think that Hawkeye has proved himself a little better than Crosshair does. Crosshair has, but I think that when we get a little more Crosshair content, that might change. But I'm not entirely sure. I would probably err on the side of Hawkeye though. Yeah. So I'd say that
that's
everything else
at this point.
Yeah, everything else unfortunately beats Star Wars in this case. Do y'all want to do one more of those, or would y'all like to do the trivia now?
I want a trivia question.
Next choice. Okay. Yeah.
So this is super hard Star Wars trivia. We don't necessarily expect y'all to get these correct, but they're just kind of outlandishly difficult questions from this this kind of trivia book that I have. So, what class was the escape pod used by C-3PO and R2-D2 in A New Hope? Was it a Class 6, a Class 2, a Class 4, or a Class 9?
So,
Class 9.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking of is seats.
Okay.
9 seats, 4 seats, 2 seats, or whatever. So I think that it is a Class 4.
Okay. Y'all are both wrong. It's a Class 6. I don't think that there's any reasoning, Jeb. I appreciate you trying to reason your way through it.
I was going off of maybe generations.
That's fair.
And I was like,
yeah.
Surely there'd be, there's probably 9 pods. I don't know.
I don't know what it's based on, but the book said 6. So
fascinating.
What is the maximum number of Womp Rats usually sighted in a pack?
Remind me.
Sorry. Answer choices. Is it 10, 30, 20, or 50?
Remind me what the Womp Rats are again.
Womp Rats are these little creatures that are on Tatooine. I don't think we've ever seen them in canon, but they're they're about the size of the hole that Luke shoots the torpedoes into to blow up the Death Star, and they resemble I'm trying to think of a comparable size.
Anteaters.
It's almost like a it's bigger than a ferret, like a dog, like a medium-sized dog.
So where do we see these from? Books or something?
You hear them referenced in A New Hope, where it's that's barely bigger than a Womp Rat. But then you also get to see them in the Star Wars Phineas and Ferb crossover, brought to you by Disney Channel. Actually, they were quite a bit bigger in that one. They're probably more the size of an anteater. You're right, Jeb.
What were the choices again?
Yeah.
Okay,
this is completely different than what I was picturing in my
Jeb
brain.
looked it up.
Looks like a saber.
Looks like a saber-toothed tiger.
Saber-toothed tiger.
1 second.
No, but then in another picture, it looks like what I'm picturing. It's like an ROUS.
Oh wow, yeah, that's very different.
These kind of look like the.
Yeah, that is like an ROUS from The Princess Bride. That's kind of.
They almost look like the Sand People's things, but they're not.
Yeah, those are I don't remember what those are called. That's like a kind of dog.
Yeah.
What?
The little the hounds that
the hounds the
Tusken
Tusken Raiders have.
The Tusken hounds, yeah.
But anyways, the answer choices for the size of a Womp Rat are 10, 30, 20, and 50.
10.
Okay.
30.
Y'all straddled it. It's 20.
Yeah,
it's pretty embarrassing, guys. I don't know about that one. Okay, I have one more question, or we can move on to another Star Wars versus everything else.
One more trivia question.
One more trivia.
One more.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh dear. This is I don't know if I'm going to be able to pronounce this correctly. What is the Ubrikian model DD-13 droid's nickname? Is it Butch, the Crusher, Galactic Chopper, or Knuckles?
Knuckles.
I'm looking up DD-13 because I don't know what he is.
I've already answered my question, so I'll...
What were the 3 options before Knuckles?
It is Butch, the Crusher, Galactic Chopper, and then Knuckles.
Galactic Chopper?
An engine just pops
DD-13 is
Star Wars
is
droid.
this. And I realize that this is a podcast, and me saying this is not very helpful.
Okay,
But
what were the options one more time?
If you want to go to
I gotta get it
YouTube
right.
and check out the visual feed, which is going to be available on YouTube, look up Twin Sun Talks Podcast. Go find us on YouTube.
Oh, this
find
guy.
this episode and then subscribe to us. But anyways, the choices are
do it.
Butch, the Crusher, Galactic Chopper, and Knuckles.
I'm gonna say Butch.
I'm still staying with Knuckles.
It is Galactic Chopper, unfortunately.
That's literally what I was going to do, but then I wanted to stay with the one that I started.
It's very embarrassing for both of you. Obviously, I knew every single one of these. Because
you have the answer.
You're the Grandmaster.
Despite me being the Grandmaster, I knew none of these before knowing the answer itself from the book.
I don't know if Yoda would know.
I don't think that Yoda would either. Okay, so we have a little bit more time. So do y'all want a quick one more of Star Wars versus everything else, or do y'all want to just move on to Rank of Master?
Zach?
We'll do one more.
One more. Okay.
Yes.
Let's do Yoda versus Dumbledore. And this is kind of similar to one that we've done before, which was a Padawan versus a Hogwarts student. But I want the prime of both, which is Yoda and Dumbledore. Who wins in a fight? And I can let you all talk first because I have a revision to one of my arguments that I made for the Padawan versus.
I instantly know my answer.
Okay, Zach, what's your answer?
It's got to be Dumbledore.
Okay, why?
Because he's got fancy spells, and I mean, sure, maybe the Force can stop the spells, but we don't know that. And all Dumbledore's got to say, is a couple words and shoot that green zappy stuff out of his wand, and then Yoda's zapped with the green zap spell of Ahokitano, and he's dead.
That's true. Okay.
Dumbledore would never do that, of course.
Jeb, I would I would say let's exclude morality from the situation just to make it interesting.
Yeah, then Dumbledore.
Okay. Jebby, are you going to say the thing that we figured out before, or
no?
Cool.
I think that Yoda, since he's just got all of his, I was about to say Spidey sense, his Force abilities, since he can block blaster bullets. So then spells don't go very quickly. They move about as fast as Star Wars blaster bullets go. So, I mean, even if Dumbledore apparates, they can block the lightsaber bolts with blind visors on.
Yeah,
true.
They don't need to see.
So I think that Yoda would win pretty hands down.
Okay, so this is the biggest thing, and this was the point of contention that I think that this was with my episode with Scott, so the most recent one of the ability to speak whenever we did a Padawan versus a Hogwarts student. But so 1 second. Okay. Shoot. 1 second. Okay. So it was the biggest thing was whether or not a lightsaber could deflect the killing curse, which is what you were talking about, Zach,
right.
Which was Avada Kedavra, because we know that there's no counter curse to it, meaning that there's no magical way to stop it. But this says, okay, and this is straight from harrypotter.fandom.com. The only known counter curse to this, to Avada Kedavra was sacrificial protection, which was used by the power of love. The killing curse was conventionally unblockable. Therefore, shield charms would not be able to defend against it. However, one could dodge the green bolt, block it with a physical barrier, or use something that I can't pronounce. But
there was a very specific.
It's a Harry Potter charm that I'm not gonna even pretend that I know how to say. But
you can text it to me.
Okay. But that being said, no, it's a link, so I can't copy it, and I'm not gonna try.
Oh, yeah.
But that being said, I would think that a lightsaber is in fact able to deflect the killing curse because that is a physical barrier, rather than the argument before is whether or not it's a state of mind where it's you just kind of it's the same logistical properties as a birthday wish where you're I want them dead and then they just die. The Flash doesn't really do anything. But if you're able to block it, I think that Yoda wins simply because I feel like any magic that Dumbledore tries to do would just be negated by the lightsaber.
Well, the thing is, I just thought of something.
Okay.
What about like a Patronus?
What's a Patronus going to do, though?
I don't know. Like, it can defeat Dementors. So
Yoda's not a Dementor.
It could
Yeah,
push
but,
Yoda
what else can
away.
it do? Like, it's
Okay.
not just for Dementors. Patronus is like for it just protects the cast.
Yeah, but what's it going to do to it, though? What's it going to do to Yoda?
I mean,
Hurt
like,
him real
can't
bad.
You know,
it can like at least like maybe I don't know.
I don't think that a Patronus would do it. We don't see a Patronus like physically harm somebody, do we?
Can't like they didn't Harry like ride his Patronus?
Did he?
No.
I don't know.
I'm thinking of Festrals.
You know Star Wars, or I mean, you know Harry Potter better than I do.
I'm thinking about Festrals.
Thestrals.
Do you remember what Festrals
They're
are?
the
Yeah, I know.
They're only visible to
yeah.
the people
Yeah,
who've seen
weird
death.
the
death
lizard
unicorns.
horses.
Lizard
Yeah,
horses.
lizard.
Yeah.
I like lizard horses more than death unicorns.
Yeah, I don't know. I still think that Yoda.
I would think that Yoda would win too. I think the Force beats magic.
Upon analyzing new evidence, it has become clear to me that Yoda probably would win. Due to his agileness alone, honestly.
Yeah.
Could probably
Yoda-
dodge. this
Yoda
battle.
he just jumps around and commits war crimes. And that's what he
Yep.
does. But anyways, I think that that's all that we have time for with this segment. Let's move on to rank of master.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
Alrighty, so in this edition of the Rank of Master, we have two different quizzes to give. This is unlike anything we've ever done before. Where Zach is a youngling, he's going up, trying to get up to Padawan, and Jeb is our first ever knight that is trying to get up to the Rank of Master. So this is very, very exciting. And if you're new to this is essentially a 3-question quiz that I give to any of my guests that come on and they have the ability to move up a rank. The point system is very ambiguous. I mainly go off of vibes, and I've never disclosed how I decide whether or not someone moves on or not.
There's nothing to disclose.
There's nothing to disclose. I come up with it on the spot. But I encourage my guests to talk through, if they don't know the answer off the top of their head, to talk through their answer and kind of give any context that's kind of adjacent to the topic that we're talking about, just to kind of give me an understanding that you know about the Star Wars topics, but don't necessarily know the specific answer. I understand that people know different things about Star Wars and are interested in different things, so I try to accommodate for that. And that being said, like the real Jedi Council, I will allow my personal biases and opinions of you as a person to sway my decision on whether or not I'll let you go on to the next rank. So we're going to start with you, Zach. You have the Youngling quiz, which is going to be hopefully fairly easy. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, and this for the Youngling quiz, I try to pull things from all 3 trilogies, so one from each for each question, just to accommodate for people that know different things. So, how did Obi-Wan Kenobi defeat Darth Maul on Naboo in The Phantom Menace?
Wow, excellent question. So, Obi-Wan Kenobi is hanging by a little knob, right? And
Yes.
his master has since been slain. Spoiler alert. I guess I should have said that before.
It's okay.
And
We're past spoilers.
I mean,
Darth
They
Maul
haven't
is
watched-
standing above him, taunting him in a sense with his lightsaber,
Yes.
against the ground.
Of course.
And Obi-Wan senses a lightsaber kind of on the balcony above him,
Of course.
and so he uses his strength and force ability to vault himself up over Darth Maul, surprising him, catching his lightsaber that he force pulls himself in the air, and then cuts Darth Maul in half.
That
as he
was
goes plummeting down into the chasm beneath.
a superb description of what happened.
Thank you.
absolutely
I
delightful.
think that was
Thank
that
you,
was one of the better
Master.
answers that I've received on this podcast.
All
So
of mine were just answers.
that was Jeb answers the question before I'm done asking it. So thank you
sorry
for
about
that, Zach. You are correct.
I'm
the
very
answer-
patient youngling.
All I was looking for was that he cuts him in half, but you went above and beyond, and I will definitely take that into consideration in the final tally.
Thank you,
Um,
Master.
Question number 2. Jakku, where Rey grew up on her own after being abandoned by her parents, is mainly covered by what ecosystem?
Thank you for that question. Well, if I were to describe it, it would be a dry desertist region. Also, perhaps the old battlegrounds of a star fight that happened on the outside of the planet.
It's true. That's very true. And all I was looking for once again was desert, but you went above and beyond. And it's true. And just as a little side note, the battlefield that you see kind of strewn about the planet is in fact the Battle of Jakku, which is historically speaking the final battle where the Empire remnants kind of made their last stand after the events of Return of the Jedi, and that's kind of officially where the New Republic wins out against the Empire and what remains of it. So yes, it is a desert. Well done, Zach.
Thank you.
You are 2 for 2 going into question number 3, and question number 3 is: what is the name of the alien gangster who hung Han Solo's carbonite block as a wall decoration?
Wow, thank you for that question.
Tip your hat, shine your shoes.
Tip your hat, shine your shoes.
He is the gang master, and I think in what's it called in Boba Fett? It's called the Dido, right?
Daimyo.
Daimyo.
Yes.
Of
Daimyo.
the city of the main capital city of Tatooine, and his name is Jabba the Hutt, or the guy who kidnaps him, I guess, and hangs him is Boba Fett.
Yes.
Right, but
that's very true.
In the palace of Jabba the Hutt.
Exquisite answer.
Thank you,
Zach. Well done indeed. Yes, that is correct.
Really well.
Jeb, do you know the full name of Jabba the Hutt?
It is Jabba the Salajik Tayor.
That is correct. Well done, Jeb.
Thank you.
But anyways, if you want to learn more about Jabba the Salajik Tayor, you can go back and listen to my Star Wars ASMR video where I mispronounced a bunch of Star Wars words that were very hard to pronounce in the form of an ASMR video, which was my first ever dislike on
Be
YouTube.
prepared.
Probably rightfully so. But anyways, if you want to check that out, it's episode 56. Why not? Okay, well, Zach, you went 3 for 3, and I think that I can say with much clarity that you definitely deserve to move up to the rank of Padawan. So congratulations. How do you feel?
Thank you, Master. I will not let you down.
Of course. I appreciate that. Okay, well, next up, we have a very, very special thing. This is our first ever actual Rank of Master quiz, where Jeb has the ability to move up to the Rank of Master. And I did something kind of special. For the other quizzes, I tend to hand pick the questions to make sure that they're spread equally throughout the franchise and make sure that they're pretty fair. But for the Rank of Master, I figured, first of all, it's not really fair if I'm the one picking, because I can make it intentionally really hard for Jeb. I can make it intentionally really easy. And so what I did was...
Intentionally really easy for Sean.
Yeah, sure. I'm not... if Sean's only going to get there if he earns it. But...
yeah, okay.
And
he did earn it.
But what I did was I numbered all of my potential questions and I put them in a random number generator. And I generated 3 random numbers. And those numbered questions are the ones that Jeb is getting now. And I put them in the order that I think that he'll do best to worst. So the last one I think is the hardest one. And the first 2 are easier. So, question number 1 for you, Jeb. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
What is Ahsoka Tano's alias when working as an informant for the rebellion? Saw Gerrera and Cassian Andor also utilized this title.
So did... Callus, correct?
Yes.
The code name is Fulcrum.
Fulcrum is correct. Well done. You are 1 for 1 in your Rank of Master quiz. Okay, Jeb. Are you ready for question 2?
I am.
Who is the pod racer whose pod stalls out before beginning the race in The Phantom Menace?
It is the namesake of Ben Solo.
Yes. Which is?
And his name is Ben Quadraneros.
That is correct. Well done, Jeb. You're now 2 for 2 in your Rank of Master quiz. And that is an inside joke. I did not intentionally pick that at all. but Jeb has been talking about, like, whenever we talked about the Rank of Master quiz, that's like the one thing that he remembers from like my possible questions is Ben Quadraneros. and we've joked, and I had no intention of giving that to him, but the random number generator gave it to him, and so he did the random number.
The question chooses the
exactly.
The one chooses the
exactly. And lastly, you are 2 for 2 going into question 3 of your Rank of Master quiz. What is the name of Kit Fisto's former Padawan who was slain by General Grievous?
He is a Mon Calamari.
He is.
And his name is Nadar Hazeb.
That is
Hazeb?
very close to being correct. And I don't know. I'll give you both sounds because his name is Nadar Veb. I'm giving you both sounds though, so you get the and the da-dung.
At the same time?
Sure, why not? Right.
Okay.
They're gonna happen right now. I don't know if that was confusing or terrible or what it was, but it definitely happened.
It happened.
So okay, Jeb, I'm gonna say that you went 2.5 out of 3 because you definitely knew that Nadar was his name, and you knew that he was a Mon Calamari, which is very impressive. And I must say that I think that you pretty decisively earned the rank of master with this quiz. So congratulations. You are the very first ever person to receive the rank of master on this podcast. So how do you feel?
I feel very overwhelmed.
I can tell.
And full of joy.
I can tell your emotions.
You can just tell. Like I have to hold my emotions in my body.
You have the emotional range of Hayden Christensen himself, and I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Well, thank y'all so much for participating, and congratulations to both of you for making it to both of your next ranks. That's very impressive on both of your parts. Do either of y'all have anything else to say? Cool. Okay, so that's about all that I have for this episode, but it wouldn't be a proper episode if I didn't leave y'all with just a little bit more. Alrighty. So,
do that again, Zach.
I'll leave it in. So what I have for today's more is that Jawas magnify their eyes using polished orange gemstones called, Durand fire.
Ooh.
Durand fire. And so that's why their eyes glow orange under their hoods. Exactly. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, Jawas are the little hooded creatures that abduct R2-D2 and C-3PO on Tatooine. We see them in The Mandalorian.
Scavenge.
Exactly. They're big scavengers. And yeah. So, and if you want to learn more about Jawas, you can go back to one of my character or alien species profiles. I gave a little bit of information about them in there. But that's about all that I have for this edition of The Ability to Speak Does Not Make You Intelligent. Zach, Jeb, do either of y'all have any other thoughts to give?
You can also learn more about Jawas on the Twin Sun Talks website homepage. That's
very true. Yeah, so if you scroll down, you can go to twinsuntalks.wixsite.com/twin-sun. The first page, the homepage that you get to, you can scroll down and you can find little profiles of all of the species that I have done profiles of. You can scroll through and find ones that you want to learn more about. You can click into them and see all the notes that I took myself, and they're the notes that I used for the episodes that I made that are available for you to see there. So I have 4 editions of them out right now. If y'all want to check them out, you can find all of them in a playlist on YouTube that I just made earlier today, actually. And yeah, they're all available to you there. Once again, if you are interested, go ahead and look up Twin Sun Talks podcast on YouTube, and then subscribe and watch all my videos and like all of them.
Oh yeah,
that gives me a serotonin boost. Anyways. Anything else, Zach?
It was an honor to be here tonight. Thanks for inviting me.
It was an honor to have you, my friend.
Of course.
Okay, well, that being said, you've taken your first steps into a larger world. May the Force be with you, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Bye, friends.